Hey guys, it's your girl Miss Brittany M, and welcome back to my channel. Before we get into this video, I don't want to offend anyone. I never want to make it seem like I'm ungrateful, but I do feel like for some of you who are thinking about getting pregnant, or you're just curious about that whole journey, I felt like it was necessary to share, because sometimes, especially being young, and following different influencers on social media, there's a lot of us who are having quarantine babies during this season, and I wanted to be completely transparent and just encourage you guys who are waiting for the right time, who are waiting for a later date, that you may be making the right decision, and just some of the things that I've gone through. And I'm 24, so maybe you guys can just compare experiences. Or if you know someone who is younger than you and they swear on their life that they're ready to have a baby or bless their significant other with a child, let's talk about it and get into some things, because my first trimester was not really a great experience. And then last thing before we start, just remember that everybody's experience is different, and this is just my experience, and I've heard even worse symptoms and stories, and then I've heard even better symptoms and stories, so it just all depends. For my moms out there, please comment below and share some of your experiences, just so we can have that transparent and open conversation for us, the sisterhood online. All right, so right here on my phone I wrote down a list of symptoms, and I'm gonna go through the list, but I'm just gonna go from like top of the dome of what I can remember. So first, I'm gonna start off by saying my very first symptom was being extremely emotional. So I remember everything would make me cry, everything would make me think really deep, and I was just like very, very emotional. Now naturally I'm in tune with my emotions, and I express my emotions very passionately, but now it was like overboard. It was OD. A lot of things used to make me cry. I remember when I just found out I was pregnant, China died. So China Rogers, I'm not sure if you guys remember that video, and I was crying on camera, and then someone else passed away, and I was like distraught. And it was just like any little thing that was going on social media or in the news, or just to anybody that I knew of or followed or was a fan of, everything affected me. So that was one. And so even like the whole Black Lives Matter, I just remember being very, very, very emotional about it. Now naturally I would be passionate about that type of topic, but it was like hurting me to my core, and I couldn't understand why. And at that time I thought that I was just about to get on my cycle, so I had no idea at that time that I was pregnant. Then right after that I had very sore boobs, and again I thought that my cycle was about to come on, so I didn't think that it was anything serious. But yeah, your girl's pregnant. Now during that time, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys know that I also was on a weight gain journey. And so I remember this one specific day, my mom made cupcakes, and usually I don't really eat a lot of sweets. I don't really eat a lot of candy like that. And so this day, y'all, I literally, and I counted, I literally had 9 cupcakes that day. My mom made 12 and I ate 9. And I remember my brother making this joke like, damn, where's all the cupcakes? And I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, dang, my cycle must be coming on any day now, because I'm super emotional, my boobs hurt, or they're just sore, and I'm eating so many sweets, and that was just my only thing at that time. So found out, oh, last thing was I'm a drinker. I'm a social drinker, and I really like wine. So me and DC, we go on a lot of dates. We love margaritas on Tuesdays. My favorite drink is Long Island, and we drink a lot of wine at home. So we love baking cookies, drinking wine, and watching movies. That's like our thing. And so I remember this one night I had 1 glass of wine, and after that I was done. And usually we'll finish a bottle together, but I just could not stomach this wine, and that's when I should have known something was up, but I didn't. And so that's what I was noticing. Now, once I took my pregnancy test, maybe like 2 weeks after that, that's when I started to notice other symptoms. So the first thing were allergy-like symptoms. And this is actually horrible when you are in the middle of a pandemic and they say things like, you know, flu-like symptoms. That's basically what I experience now. So it always just keeps me on my toes, but my nose is constantly clogged up. You guys know, like when you sleep with the fan on, that's how I feel every day. So like my nose is stuffy, or I blow my nose and it's bleeding a little bit. My throat is always dry. Naturally, I'm always out of breath. And so because of COVID, some of my symptoms, because I'm pregnant, are kind of similar to symptoms of COVID. So I always make sure every day I have a pregnancy diary. So I just like to write down my symptoms and just keep up to speed of what's going on as far as my body, just so I can make sure when I go to my doctor's appointments, I'm very vocal and I express what I'm going through, just to keep myself on the right track. So if any of you guys are pregnant, I definitely recommend that. Now, the next thing, the worst thing, are these stomach aches. Guys, okay, your first trimester lasts about 3 to 4 months, I think. So, literally, and this is what was the most exhausting and the most frustrating, I felt like I had a stomach ache every single day of my life. All day, every day, waking up, going to sleep, I felt nauseous and I had a stomach ache. Now, I never threw up. Well, I would gag a lot, but that'll be all. But just imagine waking up to your stomach aching, going to sleep all throughout the day. Some days I would fast, some days I would eat more, some days I will eat smaller portions. Some days I would have ginger ale to settle my stomach. Other days I'm just on water. My mom would make me ginger tea every day. I mean, nothing would help. My stomach just hurts all day, every day. And it was to the point after like the first 3 months, I was so drained and over it. Like, and sometimes you just feel like I'd rather throw up just so the stomach ache, like, I don't know, like sometimes I'm like, the fact that I'm not throwing up and my stomach just hurts and I'm just nauseous, I'd rather just throw up. That's how I started to get, and I just started to get annoyed. Now the doctors do provide this type of pill that helps with the nausea, but I'm not a medicine girl. If I can just push through and get through it naturally, or if I can make some type of natural tea or something, I'll do that. I hate taking medicine. So my mom got me these like ginger bites. That kind of helped, but my stomach just hurts all day, every day. I felt nauseous all day, every day. Every day I would get a headache, and it wouldn't last all day, but the headaches would last maybe like 4 or 5 hours, and there's just nothing I can do. I'll drink plenty of water, eat more iron, like a bunch of fruits and vegetables. Nothing helped the headaches either, but now they're gone, thank God. Next thing is the aftertaste. So I was hungry all day, every day. You guys know, I was eating huge meals, and I just felt like I was either never full or I was just never satisfied. So even after I would eat something, I just never felt full, and I would continue eating until I was literally eating to feel full, but it would never happen. So I think I was eating like maybe 6 meals a day and nothing. I never felt full. I never felt stuffed. Yeah, I was just eating all day. I spent a lot of money too, I'm not gonna lie, on food. And every time I would eat, I would get an aftertaste, and then that would make me more nauseous. So that was just annoying. One of the earlier symptoms also I noticed was the texture of my skin. So before I took my pregnancy test, I had these 2 huge breakouts on this side, and they left these red marks on my skin, and I was so mad because my skin was getting so good. And they were like huge and they hurt, and it was definitely like hormonal breakouts. And so now my skin is finally coming down, but I am eating dairy again, and you guys know dairy is horrible for my skin. But because I'm pregnant, I just go ahead and just eat what I want, and I eat what I crave, and sometimes I just gotta do what I gotta do. But yeah, now I'm noticing that the texture of my skin is like maybe I can show you guys. Okay, there's like these very subtle bumps, and I'm trying to get super close so you guys maybe can see. They're like, I want to say they're like heat bumps. I don't know if you guys can see that on my forehead. Okay, so I want to say they're like heat bumps, like just very, very subtle bumps everywhere. And when I took a picture and I sent it to my two best friends, they were like, yeah, they're just heat bumps, but they haven't gone away. The texture of my skin is just so different. Before, my skin was very smooth and I had a bunch of acne scars, like hyperpigmentation. So just a bunch of red marks, but they're just literally scars. They're not bumps or breakouts at all. Now it's literally super bumpy, but it's like, it's not pimples. It's not a color, it's not red or anything. It's just little tiny bumps. I can't even explain it, but it's so annoying, especially when you wear makeup. So now I want to talk about emotionally and mentally how the pregnancy had affected me or just hit me during the first trimester. So before I go into this, again, I just want to say I don't ever want to sound like I'm ungrateful or anything, but this is just real and raw. And when I talk to other mothers who have children, they totally understand where I'm coming from, and I don't think anyone would actually get it until it happens to them. The first thing was feeling left out. Now, because we are in a pandemic, it honestly wasn't as bad as it would be if, you know, the streets was open and everybody was out. So that kind of saved me. So because, you know, we had a curfew and a lot of things were closed, it's not like my friends were out doing everything we used to do, but I noticed that as soon as everyone started to just hear that I was pregnant, they would invite me out less. And I hated that, especially because naturally I'm the life of the party. People always want me around. Everybody knows you invite me, is up, like. And so going from being the life of the party and everybody wanted me around and everybody just feeling like it's not the same without me, to everybody literally hanging out and never mentioning it to me. Or I noticed some of my friends were like let's just say I call my friend, I'm like, what you got planned today? They'll purposely say like, oh, nothing, or probably get into nothing, and then an hour later they're out and they're like, oh, you're pregnant, I didn't want to make you feel left out. And I'm just like, you ain't even have to treat me like that, like that's corny. And so I remember Titsuro is naturally a homebody, and so the whole first trimester he stayed with me. We were just in the house watching movies, going on dates, creating dates at home, and we had a lot of fun. But just seeing all of our friends out together and turned up, or watching Hope like get dressed and get a haircut and be out, or sometimes Hope would like invite me by mistake and be like, oh, never mind, you pregnant. And it's like, I can still go and eat, like I can still go and order a virgin drink. Like I hate when people treat me like that, but I do understand because I'm pregnant and because it's a pandemic. I know people naturally are thinking of my safety first, but still. Just kidding. So the next thing is my mom. Okay, so when I first announced that I was pregnant, my mom was like, you are going to lose a lot of friends. And she was very transparent about that. And she was like, you're gonna grow up faster than everyone, you're gonna feel more responsible, like mommy mode kind of starts now naturally as time goes on, and I don't want you to ever feel bad about it. And so my mom told me that, I was like, yeah, but now I actually noticed. Next thing, this is probably like one of my least favorite things of all. So when I googled it, supposedly it's literally like an identity crisis, and there's even a word for it, but I forget what it is. I am struggling with people only talking about the baby when I'm around. And I understand that motherhood is such a blessing and it's such a huge role in a woman's life, but I also feel like I have more to offer than, I hope I don't sound bad when I say this, I just feel like there's more to me than being a mom. Meaning I'm not taking that role lightly, and I'm not ungrateful, but I also feel like I feel like there's so much more to me. I feel like I have so many passions and talents, and God has blessed me with so many different gifts that I don't want motherhood to consume me. And that's just the truth. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong for feeling that way, but right now it bothers me so much when I talk to people and all they ask about is the baby. All they want to talk about is the baby. All they want to talk about is their experience being a mom, in labor, in maternity leave, and clothes and names and baby showers. Like, literally ever since I announced I was pregnant, that's all people want to talk about. And it frustrates me so much because I'm like, let's talk about stocks today. Let's talk about finances. Let's talk about credit. Let's talk about hairstyles. Let's talk about pop culture. Let's talk about social media. Let's talk about marketing. Let's talk about school. Let's talk about work. Let's talk about our coworkers. Let's talk about our 401k plans. Let's talk about startup company. Like, there's just so much stuff in this world to talk about. I have a full-time YouTube channel, a online business that I run full-time. I'm in school. I work at a marketing firm. I'm a girlfriend about to be somebody's wife. I have a brother, and I have parents, and I have friends, and I'm a part of different social clubs. Like, there's just so, I'm Latina. What's going on in Puerto Rico? Like, I'm from North Philly. What's going on? Who died now? Who went to jail? Like, I don't know. Let's talk about anything else other than the child, because I already feel pregnant and I'm dealing with being pregnant every single day. The last thing I want to talk about is the baby. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about it all day, every day. And so life has just been changing so much. And in the first trimester, it was also hard. This is the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm done ranting. It was very hard because the first trimester, I would say I didn't necessarily look pregnant, but I was pregnant. And I was growing a child, and I felt like it. And to me, I look like it. And I can see all the changes within my body. But to the public eye, they couldn't. And so I felt like, I used to hate when people used to ask me like, what's wrong? Or when I used to moan and groan and people would be like, oh, your stomach hurts, why? And I used to be like, because I'm growing a child? Because my legacy is, like, to me that was the dumbest question. I'm sorry, that used to be the dumbest question. I used to hate when people used to ask me what's wrong. Or when I used to say what's wrong, they used to ask me why. Obviously I'm pregnant. Or one time I remember, DC was like, I was like, oh, I feel horrible. And he was like, still? Yes, I've been feeling horrible the past 90 days. Yes, still. Like, I used to get so mad. But yeah, the first trimester, I feel like mentally, I needed the most support. My prayer life has gotten extremely stronger. But through the grace of God and through his glory and his plan, we're here. So I'm really excited. For any of you guys that are pregnant as well, comment below, let me know, and let's share. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram to keep up with my bump. But yeah, that's my experience and that's my little rant. And please comment below and share some of your life experiences as well. I love you guys. Adios.